Hello, welcome back. Thank you for joining me today. We're taking a look at the power of our own mind. What else? Welcome to A Course in Miracles. This is a course in cause, not effect. It's a course in mind training, not at arranging or rearranging what appears to be the world outside. Again, you deserve nothing less, and well, that's what it is. So, welcome whether you're a brand new course student or a longtime course student, or whether you're just checking this out. In fact, you do not have to be a student of A Course in Miracles. You don't have to have any familiarity with this big, thick book at all in order to benefit greatly from what we're about to talk about today. And in fact, you're supposed to because you're here. However, you found this video or this series of videos, welcome. You're here for a reason. You'll know what that is when you hear it. And you may count on one thing for sure. When you hear the message or messages that are intended for you, you will recognize them because they will hit you. How? I don't know. Perhaps like a lead weight or a club. I don't know. Or as a gentle touch, possibly. A confirmation of something that you've always known. And yeah, you have always known. You may count on the fact that this is the Holy Spirit speaking to you. Our inner teacher, as I frequently refer to it here on this series of videos. Now, A Course in Miracles is a self-study curriculum. It's all-inclusive, all are welcome. It makes no difference what your background is. It makes no difference what you do for a living or where you live in the world. None of that matters at all. All that matters is you're here right now. That's what matters. So, in our mind, we ask ourselves many, many questions all of the time. And we just keep doing the same things over and over again. Then we expect a different result. Einstein's definition of insanity comes into play here, doesn't it? And we all do this. This conversation appears to be happening right now because we need it. In other words, we've indulged in this fantasy, this fiction, for a long time. The mistaken belief that we're an individual, that we're an ego, that we're a separate being, separate from all of the other apparently separate beings, and separate from God. We are not separate from God, which deep down we all know, and you know this. I know that you know this because you're watching this video. That tells us everything we need to know, doesn't it? That a part of you, deep down, knows. We all do. That's why we're on the spiritual path. And now here you are paying attention to this course, which is a course in cause, not effect. In other words, it's a course in mind training. Mind is the cause. The world that we see, that we appear to inhabit and experience, is the effect. This is a course in cause, mind training. If you were expecting a course in effect, in other words, in rearranging the world that appears to be out there with a better job, more money, better friends, beautiful lovers, and a really fantastic bottle of Bordeaux. Left bank, please, and well aged. If you're expecting something like that, that may, in fact, come. as a result of our practicing this course, but it's not the point. The point is to change our mind. Just that, which means everything. And if you've been doing this for a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. So we ask ourselves many, many questions. We ask ourselves, okay, do I desire a world that I rule rather than one that rules me? Well, we ask ourselves that question. And we ask ourselves, do I desire a world where I'm powerful instead of helpless? We ask ourselves that. Do I desire a world where I have no enemies and cannot sin? We ask ourselves that. And we answer affirmatively to all three of those. And there's another question that we haven't answered. We have been actively denying our reality. We've actively been denying truth. Truth is there is no separation of any kind. So when we think, when we act out, and when we insist that we're separate individuals, separate from everyone else that appears as a separate individual, and separate from God, when we think erroneously, incorrectly, and falsely that we're separate, we're denying truth. We're denying our reality. We're denying our identity with a capital I. I know you know what that is. We all do. The more you allow yourself to contemplate that one and go there, the better. Again, welcome. So, we've answered these three questions in the affirmative. And by the way, if you're following along in the text, we're on chapter 21, section 7, which is entitled The Last Unanswered Question, which is a very appropriate title. So we've denied our reality. We have not asked ourselves this last question. Do I want to see what I've denied because it is the truth? Do I want to see perfect oneness because it is the truth? Do I want to see my identity, capital I, because it is the truth? Do I want to know myself, capital S, because it is the truth? Ask that question. Do I want to see everything that I've been denying because it is the truth? Because I've been denying perfect oneness. I've been denying our reality. Do you want to see that? Because it's the truth. Let's ask that question. It's very powerful. And that's a question that we have not asked out of fear, pretty much. What else? I mean, the reason that this conversation appears to be happening is that we need it. And we need it because we've been actively denying who and what we are and running off and doing life pretending that we're an individual, which is not true. And we go about our lives here in the world doing our thing. If you're going off to work today, go off to work today, right? Pay the rent, pay the mortgage, eat, sleep, live a normal life, but you don't have to get completely and wholly carried away and sucked into it in your own mind, believing that it is real. It is not. So we just live our normal lives and we look at it with our inner teacher, the Holy Spirit. We look at it with Jesus. You look at it with the Holy Spirit. Call it whatever you want to call it. The choice that we have to make between light or dark, life or death, God or the ego, is in fact a choice of who we want to see our experience with. Do we want to watch this weird movie with the Holy Spirit or with the ego that thinks we're separate and wants us to continue to believe that we're separate so that we sit and spin and do the same thing over and over again, believing we're in competition with everyone else? I mean, certainly we've set our world up, we've made it up to look like that. Everything is predicated on this sense of separation that's a mistake. We've been denying, actively denying who and what we are. Do we want to see that because it's the truth? And hopefully you answer yes to that today. So this choice that we're making is the choice of whether to attack or to heal. So do I want to continue to attack or do I want to heal? Heal the mind. I mean, that's what we're deciding in the present moment. And if you're unfamiliar with A Course in Miracles, this is a theme that runs throughout. It's said in many different places, in many different ways, that it appears to us that we have billions and billions of choices. There's one. Let's simplify, shall we? It's actually quite simple. We have one choice right now in the present moment. There are only two options: love or fear, God or the ego, the Holy Spirit or the ego, truth or illusion. I mean, call it whatever you want to call it. There are many ways that we could characterize this in words. Many different combinations of that are possible. That's the choice. I mean, it's the choice of, do you want to see your brother, in other words, every other living thing, through the vision of the Holy Spirit or through the body's eyes, the ego's eyes of separation and division? Do you want to see things as they are, or do you want to keep seeing them as you've made them up? Separation, guilt, blame, hatred, rage, and fear. Which do you want? Because here's the power: what you want to see, you will see. Do you want the peace of God? You might legitimately answer, not today, and that's fine. The question will present itself again. As always, it does. And eventually, we all answer yes to that. And perhaps you already have. And well, this is an opportunity for you to do it again. And if you have not, it's an opportunity for you to do it right now. When else? I mean, when you look out and you're doing life and things are difficult and people are upset and impatient, when you're upset and impatient, ask yourself this: do I want this? I mean, is this what I want to see? Do I want to see this chaos? Or do I want to see a world where I have no enemies, where I have no opponents, no opposition? Do I want to see a world where it's healed, where we're all one, joined? Do I want to see things as they really are? Or do I want more of the same? Do I want to see chaos, or do I want the peace of God? We overlook this choice simply because it looks so straightforward. I mean, it's very, very simple. It is the simplicity of this course that makes it so very powerful. And it's the simple things that we're most apt to overlook in life. Think about it. We run amok and overlook the simple things all the time, thinking, yeah, it just can't be that easy. There's got to be more to it than that, right? There've got to be multiple different layers of complication. I'd better make an outline and parse it out and divide it and subdivide it into multiple component parts. And this component part looks shinier, so I'm going to follow this component part today. And oh, it's not satisfying. Next shiny component part. Right? No, it's much simpler than all of that. Truth is very simple. It just is. So, what this course is all about is learning to see things as they are, not the way we've made them. This is a requirement. It's a prerequisite, if you want to call it that, for awakening. This course, as we've mentioned, is a course in mind training. We're learning to see things as they are. We do not perceive them as they are. Our perception is upside down. We think we're individual self-sustaining survival units, in other words, which we're not. We're learning to see that we're not. That's what this is all about. Now, when you have completely clarified this perception, truth dawns of itself. When you see the world completely forgiven, truth dawns of itself. That's awakening. That's enlightenment, which does not happen, even though we may get glimpses of it along the way. We're sucked back into suffering eventually, until such time as our perception is completely and totally clarified, then truth dawns of itself. That's awakening. That's liberation, enlightenment. It's called many different things in world spiritual traditions. That's what that is. So we've got to clarify our perception first. See the world forgiven. In truth, and the central teaching of this course, there is no world. We weren't taught that as kids, were we? We're taught, oh yeah, this wobbling, spinning ball of rock is home. Home sweet home. Welcome to A Course in Miracles. There is no world. Who and what you are is beyond this wobbling, spinning ball of rock completely. We are, all of us, perfectly at home in God, one with our Creator, where we've always been. And you do know this. We all know this. So, what we're doing here is we're waking up, awakening to that truth. And the more we allow it in, the more we answer the question, do I want to see what I've been actively denying because it is the truth? The more we answer yes, 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 and yes to that, the better. So hopefully these past few minutes have served as some sort of a clarification to you and or well, hopefully, an inspiration to put these ideas into practice, because that's how we best learn. So I thank you for joining me. The subscription button's over here. That's that prompt here in the corner of your screen. If you have not subscribed and joined us, please go ahead and do that. We'd love to have you. And thank you, by the way, to those of you who have recently joined us here. There have been a number of you. And well, questions are always welcome. This comment thread here on YouTube is intended to be used actively. So if you have questions, please feel welcome to leave them. And also, if you just want to pop in and say hello, I'd love to hear from you too. Okay. So thank you as always for joining me. And well, if this is the first video that you've now watched it all the way to the end. Come back tomorrow. All right. Thank you.